Hey everybody, Brian Hoops here, Midwest Market Solutions. Our Market Insider TV closing commentaries Wednesday, November 22nd. We will not have any commentaries or anything tomorrow, of course, as it's Thanksgiving. Be back on Friday morning. Be back in the office and give us some closing comments on Friday as well. All right, we had good gains in the soybean market here. Let's see what's driving prices from a chart perspective. We came off of this low here back on November the 14th, and we've been talking about dry weather in Argentina being a focal point, and the market is adding some premium here into prices. So you can see we are rallying back to this downtrend line, right up to it today, with some resistance coming in here. You could draw a pretty good resistance point right off of those lows and those highs, right around $10 mark, and then the better resistance comes at this 1009 area. Right up in here is where we're going to run into resistance again. And you're talking some pretty impressive levels. If you can get back to here, this is the November highs, this is the October highs at 1014 and 3/4, and then we had a nice uptrend going. So if you've been able to make some sales anywhere in this range, I think it's a good thing. If we get new highs, I think you need to reward that with additional sales because it's early in the growing season. And this rally may not continue if we have some sort of a drought or something happen in Argentina. Then we may see higher prices yet, but a lot of producers holding on to some soybeans. This is going to be a good time to sell. What's really driving prices? Look at soybean meal here. We're moved above this high in November. We took out this high, and now we're back going to test these highs, and that was off of some pretty good resistance. So soybean meal is one that's really, you can see here, it did not really make new lows when the soybeans did in the middle of the month. You can see the soybeans made a much lower level. It's the soybean meal that's been very strong and supportive in here, and now taking off and rallying, and probably going to test this cluster of resistance up in here around 328 in the December contract. At the expense of soybean meal has been soybean oil. You can see in a downtrend in here, and it was lower again today. And in spite of corn and soybean meal finding some strength, corn barely, or soybeans and meal finding strength, barely has rallied. In fact, a half-cent lower. We go back just a week, these lows were 336. We made a high of 347 today, so a 10.5 cent rally attracted some selling interest. I think if you get back up in this 350, 354, 55 area in the December, you're going to find a lot of selling interest. That's going to be about a 20-cent rally off of these lows that were charted in November, and I think producers are going to be willing sellers if that happens. Wheat futures today, barely any support out of a sharply lower U.S. dollar. Flip to a dollar chart here, and you can see this dollar down hard today, but the wheat barely got any support out of it at all. Only one private sale so far this week. That was a soybean sale to China, and wheat futures pretty much just flat on the defensive in here. Minneapolis trying to rally, but just we had this one rally in November, attracted some end user, bought some product from producers, and then we've gone flat since that time frame. Strong gains again in the cattle market, almost a gap higher here this morning. And rallied up into resistance. Remember, we talked last night, we're probably going to see some sort of a retracement here in this cattle market. We're at about the 25%. Certainly have room to go to this 38%, which is another $1.50 higher. 50% is very likely. That's about 128.27. So could have another $2.50 rally. Cash trade was stronger this week, and that fueled gains. Have a great Thanksgiving. I'll talk to you again on Friday morning. This has been Brian Hoops for Midwest Markets.